Hello, this is Roland. Welcome. Today I want to talk about a basic principle that will be of help to you if you understand it, if you can employ it with understanding, not just mindlessly, not just because I said so, but because you can see it for yourself. And that is that the basic principle is to not look for support from other people, to not look for assurance and reassurance for your ego from other people. Now, that's something we all do. In fact, a lot of people are people pleasers. And if you're a people pleaser, it means that you want something from others. You want them to approve of what you're doing or support you in what you're doing. And so you are a people pleaser. You want to please them. And you think if you please them, then they'll give you support. See, the first mistake is looking for support from other people. Where should you get your support and approval? It should be from your Creator. A man and a woman, must find their Creator within and look to Him for everything. In the Bible it says, lean not on your own understanding. Okay? So, if you're leaning on your own understanding, that's better than leaning on other people's knowledge or looking to other people for to tell you what to do. But even better yet is to look to God for wisdom and for what to do. But if you do look at it this way, how do you know what God would like you to do? Well, we have, of course, the 10 Commandments and such things. But far more important, you know in your heart what's right. Yeah, you know in your heart. You know if you've been impatient with well, maybe you don't. See, most people are so far from their conscience. When you were a little child, you were closer to it. When you knew when you were mad at your mommy and angry at your mommy, you knew there was something wrong with that. Or if you told a lie, or if you were mean to someone, or you got angry and took it out on your dog or the cat or something because you were mad at your mom, you knew that was wrong. You knew it. If you stole something, you knew in your heart it was wrong. But as people get older, their heart hardens. And your hardening of your heart means you're growing farther and farther away from God. So adults can do bad things. They can lie. They can be phony, hypocritical, dishonest, impatient, mean, judgmental, resentful, and a lot of other bad things, and not even bat an eye, not even realize that they're doing anything wrong whatsoever. That's how far they are from their conscience. So they're in very bad shape. If you can go around and do bad things and not feel bad about them, if you can be phony and mean and hypocritical, or you can hate someone, or resent people, or you're impatient with your kids, anything wrong, if you can do those things without knowing that you've done something wrong, then you are in very bad shape. Spiritually, you're in stage 4. Okay? So, that's not good. You were in much better shape when you were a little kid and you had your conscience. So you have to, what did David say? He said in his beautiful prayer in the Psalm, he said, restore unto me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. He cried out to God. See, David knew. David knew. David loved God. And he cried out to God. Okay? So he made a couple of mistakes, didn't he, David? But you know what? It says in the Bible that David was a man after God's own heart. See, David loved what was right. And he loved God. So that's what saved him. So you have to refine the love of God and the love of what's right and do what's right. Not to please other people. See, there's two reasons. See, there's three reasons for doing what's right. Only one of them is correct. The right reason for doing what is right is because you see that it's right. And so you just do it because it's right, regardless of the consequences. You see what's right or fair or just, and you just do it. The wrong reasons are to do it to save your hide, because you're afraid you'll go to hell, or you're afraid that someone will find out, or you're afraid that you'll lose some benefit. And then the other reason is, wrong reason, is to please others, to get a brownie button of approval from someone else. See, well, that's not good enough. You have to do it simply because it's right, because you love what's right, because you want to see what's right prevail, or because you clearly see a way to go. And so you just go that way. Okay? Even if the whole world stood against you, even if everybody else said, what are you doing that for? See, that's what they'll do. They will do that. They'll try to make you doubt yourself. So that's your other problem. You doubt yourself. But now let's get back to what we were saying earlier. You mustn't look for approval from others. Okay? Because if you look for approval from others, it means you value, it means you're making them into your God. You're turning from God, and you're turning toward people, toward mammon. See? You're turning toward them, and you're making them the support of what you are. So you will become dependent on their approval. You'll become dependent on it. You'll become addicted to it. See? But by doing so, you turn away from God. You become less independent, less God-centered, and more people-centered. See, a lot of men, they look to their wife. See, as little kids, their mom ruled the roost. Dad was weak. Father was weak or absent, or he wasn't there, or he was violent. Mostly, they're weak. In any of those cases, he's wrong. So he was wrong. Typical dad is weak. So mom is in charge. See, even if she pretends that dad is in charge, he's really in charge. Okay, so the kids quickly realize who's in charge, which side their bread is buttered on. So they curry favor with her. So she becomes the center of everything. And he looks to her for support for his ego. See, remember I said don't look to other people for support and approval, but that's what he does. He's woman-centered. The father was weak, and mom ruled the roost, and the kids look to mom as they're everything. Well, then the child from this family goes out into the world looking for a woman who will support his ego, like his mom did. See? And he finds a woman that supports his ego, makes him feel like accepts him just the way he is, and makes him feel like a male is a real man. Whereas a real man is standing on his own 2 feet. See, a real man doesn't need love, he gives love. But, so he looks to her to support his ego. Big mistake. See, it's okay to cooperate with your wife, to be good friends. It's okay to have relations so that you can have children. That's perfectly fine. Okay? It's okay to feel affection for your wife. It's all fine. But when you look to her to support your ego, then before you know it, you begin to lose your manhood. You lose it to her, actually. She takes your manhood and your life. And in exchange, you get her identity. Since she's in charge of what you are, you've looked to her as your ground of being, because you're woman-centered. Most men are women-centered. So he ends up becoming less of a man, and she becomes more of a man, and she's in charge. But she resents him. She resents him for crying out to her for a fix. See, he's like a drug addict. He needs that fix. So she resents him for that. When she resents him, she feels guilty for resenting him, so then she serves him, but then he becomes worse. Okay. So, back to what I said earlier, don't look to others for approval. If something is the right thing to do, then just do it. Because you see that it's right. Maybe other people see that it's right too. Well, that's good. If they don't, then either way, you do what's right. Okay? And secondly, you don't look for approval. Don't look for them to tell you you're doing a good job and a nice job and you're fine and you're good and everything. See, that's the problem with most churches. See, I'm in favor of religion. But the true religion is a relationship between a soul and its maker. But most churches are just people getting together to support each other, tell each other that they're wonderful just the way they are. See? So they support each other. And so, see, anything that interferes with your relationship, you should look to God for your support, for approval. If you do what's right, then maybe He'll give you approval. See? But if you look to other people, what did Christ say? He said you cannot love God and Mammon at the same time. He said you can't serve two masters at the same time. You can't ride two horses at the same time. So if you're serving other people for their approval, then you're not serving God. See? So I think that's a very important principle for you to realize, or at least start to give it some thought. So if you're a people pleaser, if you're stricken, see, if someone doesn't approve of what you do, or they question what you do, if you feel yourself stricken by that, and you feel yourself wanting to get in their good graces again, then that means you're separated from God, and you're way too dependent on what other people think of you. Besides, what if somebody thought you were wonderful? Does that mean you're really wonderful? No, it doesn't. And the other thing, you give them power that way. Eventually they rule over you. They sense that you need them for their approval. Then they take advantage. Or they withhold it. They withhold it so they can get whatever they want out of you. Or to get even with you for wanting it in the first place. See, a lot of people resent other people that are looking for approval and reassurance and so forth. They resent it because they know it's a weakness. They know that they're being used by the other person's ego. So they resent it, you see. So they might withhold approval. Just because that way they can stake their claim over you and make you see how much you are dependent on them by they're pulling the rug out from under you, and then when they ask you to do something, you'll leap to do it. So I think I've said enough. I think I've made my point very clearly. You should be able to stand on your own 2 feet, okay, and do what's right, or do what's fair, or do what's just, or do what you see in your heart, what you wordlessly know is right, or fair, or just, or if you see a right course. If you don't know what to do, then you just wait until you do know. It's that simple. Okay? So, so you do the right thing. And then say you do the right thing. You do a good job at work, or you do what is your duty. And then, if the other person doesn't tell you that you did a good job or thank you for it, then don't become resentful. Okay, just continue to do your duty because you see what is right. Remember that famous general? Was it the admiral, I think, in the British Navy? There's a big battle coming up. And they wanted a message from the captain. I guess he was the captain of the ship, or the admiral. And he said, England expects every man to do his duty. England expects every man to do his duty. That was the message. Okay, so do your duty, whether people appreciate it or not. Don't expect appreciation. Don't expect people to tell you did a good job. Don't expect people anything. Just do your duty. And then if someone does say you did a nice job or great or thank you so much, okay, well then also with that, then don't puff up in pride over that, because then you'll become dependent on that too, see. Just say thank you very much. And don't resent people if you see them saying, oh, you did such a wonderful, oh, you're so great, you're so wonderful, thank you, thank you. If you see that they're manipulating you or they're trying to get something out of you, then don't resent them. Just see that's what they're doing. You just say thank you and go about your business. See how simple that is? So you'd be so much better off if you saw what your duty is and you just did it. And if you could do a kindness for someone, then you do the kindness. Don't expect gratitude. And if you can't do the kindness, then don't do it. See? Just proceed each moment at a time, each day at a time. Do what you can. See? And the other thing is, don't be too loose with giving lots of praise to other people either, because all you're doing is you're weakening them. Your praise. Oh, you did such a wonderful job, and some parents do that with their kids. They think they're building the child's self-esteem, but actually all you're doing is weakening the child. That doesn't mean you have to be mean. Of course you acknowledge good performance. Of course. You acknowledge good performance. There's nothing wrong with that. But overly lavishing emotional praise on someone, all you're doing is potentially weakening them. If it gets to them and they start to buy into it and they start looking to you for that pat on the head, then you've weakened them. That's all you've done. And you've set them up to become fair game to someone else who comes along and praises, tells them what a good job they're doing. See, so when you're no longer around, or they're out of the home, or they come under someone else's influence who is very clever at praising them and so on, then they will be a weak follower of that other person. Then you'll be horrified when you see that and realize that you set them up for that. So acknowledge good performance. Be friendly, of course. Good-natured about things, light-hearted, but don't lavish excessive praise on others. Okay? My name is Roland.